Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we've got the sound system demo on the 2022 Subaru Outback and its 6-speaker mid-range audio system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the infotainment system works, take a look at audio inputs, adjustments, controls, speaker locations, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. Then we're going to head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. If you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning, you just want to hear the music, click on the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And if you want to hear more than just these kind of generic test tracks, sign up to become a Daily Motor member. I'm going to be shooting a members-only sound test for this car that has normal tracks requested by members. So if you want to check that out, here's some new music, click the link in the description. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is the Wilderness edition of the Outback. So you see all these silly little gold accents around it, as well as these big old Subaru Wilderness badges all over the place. Subaru's a killer with marketing. I gotta give them that. I'm not really a huge fan of the Outback. I kind of like it in theory. I like having a rugged, capable vehicle that's I think it's a good size for a lot of different type of families and people. I just don't really like the way it drives, and I don't like the controls and the inputs. But if you do, and you want to see more on the Outback, check the link in the description. We've got a highway fuel economy test for this, as well as a DM test drive. Now we always do this test with lossless, uncompressed WAV audio files on a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high-quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults, just as the audio engineers intended. Let's take a look at those now. We've got the large, vertically oriented display here in the 2022 Outback. There's two different ways to get to the sound settings. If you're in the media screen, you can click this little adjustment here and get your bass stuff, and by bass I mean like basic stuff. If you go over here, settings, then you can actually get a few more audio settings. Let's start out with sound customization. You've got bass, mid-range, and treble, front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance, and adjustment for the vocal image control. And if you go look at the virtual stage enhancer here, you've got this function delivers high realistic surround sound by enhancing the vocals when virtual stage enhancer is set to low, mid, or high. Front and rear vocal image control cannot be adjusted. So there's a lot to check out. There's a lot of gimmicks with this system. So let's kind of just go through, listen to the music, and I'll play around with all of them. Here's a few more weird things you have. You have a sound restorer, and that doesn't actually tell you what it does. It just has on or off. I assume it has something to do with trying to make up for compression in things like satellite radio. Then you have virtual bass. This function corrects the bass sound by adding harmonic sound. So I'll go through off and high with that. Then you have Dynamic Beat Enhancer. This function restores the dynamic range lost in data compression and creates a sharp beat sound. Now, this is uncompressed music we're listening to, so in theory, you shouldn't want any sort of changes or adjustments, but again, let's just go through and demo it. And then you have speed volume control, so as you get going faster, the sound levels adjust, and an aux volume gain, so you can probably, when you plug into the aux port down there, kind of add a little extra volume boost for you. As you can tell by my general demeanor, I'm not a big fan of adding artificial stuff to music. It almost always brings the quality down, but I suppose if you're listening to a lot of satellite radio or compressed type streaming music, it would be nice to have something to kind of clear that up. I just don't think with a 6-speaker, non-premium sound system, you're going to get very desirable results. For audio controls in the new Outback, you've got a nice volume knob here, good clicks, easy to grab. You've also got volume on the left side of the steering wheel as a rocker. Track selection, if you're on the touch screen and the media screen here, you can do that. You can also turn this knob to tune through tracks, and you've got forward and backward on the left side of the steering wheel right by volume, so that's good. For audio inputs in the Outback, you've got your standard AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, Bluetooth, 2 USB-A data ports with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support, a 3.5mm auxiliary input jack, and that is it. What does that mean you're missing? Well, you don't have any USB Type-C ports and no wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It would be nice to see that here in the 2022 model, but I bet you Subaru's got at least one of those things coming soon. And for those of you who appreciate aux inputs, you still got one. Speaker locations. As I said, this is not the base 4-speaker or the top-tier Harman Kardon 12-speaker. It's just the 6-speaker system. Starting in the bottom left, you've got door woofer, tweeter, door woofer, and then 5, 6 in the doors there. Even though you can very clearly see a speaker grill right up there with a hole, there's no speaker inside in this system. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto demos. We're going to do Android Auto first. And since there are 2 data ports for USB, you can keep your USB music going while you bring up Android Auto, which is nice. There we have it. You can see it's kind of tucked into the screen here. There's your home screen. Whoops, that's settings. I guess this is technically your home screen. And then there's YouTube Music and Google Maps. Alright, how about Apple CarPlay? Well, we can hear the music did stop and change over to CarPlay, interestingly enough. We can probably get that going again if we go to... Oh. Well, that's interesting. It's actually not letting me play my USB music while CarPlay is connected. That's a bit disappointing. But when you do bring up CarPlay, it's cool because it actually brings up a taller Apple CarPlay interface. I've never seen this before. I've always seen it as kind of a horizontal look. But there's your home screen. You've got Waze right there. There's Amazon Music and settings. All right, let's get the music going again and get out on the road. For being a non-premium system, there's something the system does well and something it does poorly. I do appreciate that even when you crank it up, the sound doesn't get distorted. It does a pretty decent job at staying composed and actually providing a fair bit of bass. What I don't appreciate is the way the sound is mixed between the different speakers and areas of the car. It doesn't sound true to recording. I turn on songs that I hear week in and week out, every single vehicle we test, and they sound very different in this car than they do as they're supposed to sound. So, not very true to recording, but also not blown out exactly. Speaking of blown out, for this next one, we'll turn the bass all the way up, and we'll turn that virtual bass up too, and see how everything sounds. Oh, shoot. That's awful. That's even worse. Oh, shoot. I did not mean to skip. Let's go back. I'm going to turn it up even more. That's really bad. Oh man, that might be the worst I've ever heard. Let's get that back to off. Oh, where's my Muffin song? What the heck? All right, 1 second. There's too many things going on in this car. Not a big fan of the system. It takes too many clicks to do everything. And there's a little delay in between everything. Alright. Why are you not playing the proper song? Good thing it's got the self-steering because you gotta spend so much time looking at this. Alright, I'm in Browse. Folders. Sound test. Huh, Muffin's at the bottom for some reason. Alright. Camera actually overheated because the auto climate control in this car is so messed up that it's got to be 80 degrees inside here, even though I have it off and it was set at 73 degrees auto before that, as we do for every single fuel economy test. So my camera overheated. Great. My thoughts on the 6-speaker sound system here in the 2022 Subaru Outback. Certainly not great. I would be really impressed, or really interested in trying the Harman Kardon 12-speaker, because Harman Kardons aren't always the best, but it's got to be a step up over this. Overall, I think if it weren't for the infotainment system, if this were just a very basic radio, or if it just worked really well, I would give this system a C. But it's got to be getting a D for me. It's not intuitive to use. I mean, I'm sure, don't get me wrong, once you owned it, I'm sure you figure out where everything is, but just compared to what else there is on the market and how well those systems work, I prefer other systems over this large screen Subaru system. And again, it just doesn't sound that great, especially once you crank things up. I thought it didn't really get distorted, but when you can clearly hear when we turned the bass up on that one song, it got pretty distorted, and things just don't sound right in here. So yeah, for a non-premium system, it's fine, but you just got to understand what else is available on the market. If you do want to see more on the Outback, check the links in the description. We also got the members-only sound test that we shot on this for a more thorough listen, if you will. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.